BC team, and we watched the Nova Scotia rink, Keith, last night pull off a lot of great, delicate, lightweight shots that propelled them to this championship.
Well, anytime you knock off a former champion in a Saskatchewan team, and that was a huge win for Nova Scotia. BC does have the hammer starting this off, and Nathanson is first away to get this underway. Now, if you happen to be just busy all week and tuning in for the first time, these are 8-end games, and we will have a break at the end of 4 for 5 minutes to refresh your coffee if you're so inclined. There is also 3 other matches going on today, the bronze and the women's gold. In the bronze medal game, as Darren has said, it will be the 2 losers from last night, Ontario and Saskatchewan. And on the women's side, bronze medal is Ontario, Northwest Territories, and going after the gold, another Nova Scotia team.
What a story.
The ladies, and taking on Alberta. And we will keep you posted on all those scores as it goes. We do have our camera crew on sheet E doing the women's gold medal match too. So we've got lots of coverage today, and we're excited to get underway here. And action has already started getting into the house, Darren.
Yeah, we saw Nova Scotia last night in the men's semifinal go right for it against Saskatchewan. They got into a little bit of a jam early in the game a couple times, but they like an aggressive game, and that paid off for them in that final. I think we're in for a really good game. It's really early in BC, so you say refresh their coffee. They're going to need it out there if they're watching from the Richmond Curling Club where this team's from.
And Cody just wants to give a shout out to his better half, Sarah, if she's awake, and their parents, and all. I had a chance to talk to the both teams beforehand, and they just want a big shout out to many family and friends and their supporters at their curling clubs, and also the Tunnel Town Curling Club. Cody plays out of. I know the boys play out of Richmond, but Tunnel Town too is they want to give a shout out to.
Yeah, this is Cody's, counting them up here, 18th, I believe it is. 18th game in 2 weeks wearing the British Columbia colors. He represented the province at the mixed championship, Canadian mixed championship at the Fort Rouge 2 weeks ago, where he skipped his team to a 5-5 record. And here he is. He throws last rock for the BC team. Vic holds the broom throughout the end and calls the game for them. And look at that great shot there by the BC lead to get things underway. Sitting 2 in the 4-foot already for the team from Richmond.
Yes, like you said, Cody is third, but he shoots skip stones, and he likes throwing the BBs.
Yeah, last night
his eyes just light up when he goes.
The 7th end last night in their semifinal game. It did not look like a blank end was shaping up, and he boom boom magic. It was gone. And speaking of some magic there, Travis Stone with a really nice run back double, and to sit 2. Well, it's a biter. Might be a biter.
Yeah, have to get the measurement out for that, but because our overhead camera sometimes can be just a little off, and I mean I see white there, but how the measuring goes around, if it comes down to that, we got a lot of and there's quite a few family and friends here with the teams this week too, Darren. We found that all across the board and all the teams, which was great to see.
Mm-hmm. We had some of the Nova Scotia women's fans. I was talking to Michelle Williams, the skip, and you see that rock just get by the guard there. Great sweeping by Cody Tanaka. There's some of the Nova Scotia women's fans were making the trip up based on their success and progressing throughout the weekend, but they were unable, some of them, to find hotel rooms because Miramichi here, our host, has been really busy this week, and it's hard to actually get a hotel room in the town.
Yeah. A town of about 17,000. It's an hour and 15 minutes north of Moncton, New Brunswick, for the folks out in BC, but not know where Miramichi is. We're on the beautiful Miramichi River, famous for its salmon. Lots of bass in the river now because they have big bass events here at the end of May that has become very, very popular.
So it was shaping up to be a pretty
Yeah, where did all the rocks go?
choked off end there, but a double run back double by Travis Stone and another hit and roll out, and we are looking at BC trying to play probably for the blank now.
Trevor Backen. And you know what? You can see right off the hop why these two teams are in the final. The execution. It's just the skip puts the broom down. Boys take care of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Nova Scotia too was had a very confident round robin. Kind of flew a little bit under the radar with that second game, dropping it to Prince Edward Island, and we had Manitoba and the men's in their pool running undefeated through until they reached them in the final game. So they were kind of the team to beat. But this team was always there. So I think they embraced that kind of rise to the occasion in that last round robin game, and then they knocked off Saskatchewan last night.
Well, and just the curling, I was teasing the boys about. I said, hey, Nova Scotia, forget Sidney Crosby and Nathan McKinnon. I said, look, we got the men's going for the gold, the women's going for the gold, and I believe Nova Scotia was in the finals in the mixed curling championship.
Yeah, and they
Manitoba
win.
Yeah. So wow, they're great breeding ground for
really
curlers
good.
out there.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't had a Scotties or a Brier victory in a few years, but it really shows. I was asking Kurt what he thought this would mean if Nova Scotia could pull two out here today, but he said, just being in these finals for both the teams and for the province is a really good win for them at the club level and growing the game, getting people into. They might have looked at, if you're a curler in Nova Scotia, looked at the Scotties and Brier success of the last couple of years for Nova Scotia and been maybe discouraged or not inclined to go for it. But there's this as well, and this team has made it their goal to get to this level. They're not focused on Brier playdowns as much as they are the Travelers Championship.
McNamara with his second shot.
And this one needs to curl a bit to stick around. He's got a piece of it, but it looks like it's going to roll out. I was asking, this is the first final for both these teams at this event. We have a few other teams and players that have been here before. We look over at the women's final. Morgan Muse's rink has been in the final 2 years ago in Kelowna. So I was asking these two men's teams how they slept, and Cody said like a baby. And I asked Travis Stone from Nova Scotia, and he said like a baby. And I said, well, your opposing skip said the same thing. And he said he may have not been as sarcastic as I was, is what he said. So there may be a little bit of nerves on both sides. You're playing in front of a lot of people here today in Miramichi,
and we broadcast from our booth here the women's semi with Alberta and Northwest Territories, who's had a great week of curling, and the whole game Territories was on the defense. Like Alberta was, every time you looked, Alberta had 2 or 3 rocks in the play every time, and it was just always Northwest. They didn't allow Northwest Territories to get in that game, and Morgan just called an excellent game, and her team executed to perfection.
Yeah, a lot of storylines of both the men's and women's. In the women's event, that game last night, you had Northwest Territories. They were seeking the Territories' first ever Canadian curling championship, but they will have a chance today to go home with the bronze medal if they can get past Ontario. But Morgan Muse, as we said, this is her 3rd time, and of course, on the men's side, there's history to be made here for Nova Scotia or BC if they were to win this as well. Get our first look at Kurt Roach throwing skip stones here for Nova Scotia, trying to get around the guard with a quiet weight bump.
And Kurt wants to give a shout out to Miles and Charlotte. Hope you're up early this morning supporting the team. It's a little easier for the folks on the East Coast than it is for the folks on the West Coast.
And they're getting ready for a big party there in Sydney, coming up in a couple months at the Scotties Tournament of Hearts in Sydney. I know Robin Nathan's in the lead here in Nova Scotia, is involved with the organizing of that event, and Curling Canada, and these teams, the women's teams are going to be put to a good show there in Sydney.
February 16th to 24th, that outstanding event. Are you going to be able to go down to that one, Darren?
I'll at least be at the opening weekend.
Okay. Yeah, it's a long haul.
Yeah, and hopefully the team I work with out of Ontario, hopefully they're able to to qualify, Rachel Holman's rink. So we get Cody Tanaka coming down with a draw around the guard. Still trying to utilize that long center guard to generate their 2 points. But this one needs a lot of work from the sweepers to get there. Anything in the paint would work here because it's a great line.
Boys are working hard. They got a
sweep
biter. Good but a sweeping. Woof!
And you got to look at that too, Keith, and say that Kurt has to be careful. You just look behind him there. There's a catch. There's a catcher at the back. It's not in. It's a BC one, if you can see on the overhead.
Yep.
And if he makes a move at it, he's got to make sure he doesn't jam it into that, and of course avoid the guard the whole time. So he will have to opt for the out-turn come around instead. So great result there by Cody on that first rock of this first end.
Last shot for Kirk Roach. Shots away, just keeping it clean. And now they're beginning to get at the line. They're on it now.
Calling it for line, but it's got a lot of weight.
The weight, yes.
They may have been able to chip off it as a better result, but Tanaka leans on that broom. It is
out.
Unfortunately through for Nova Scotia.
So here's
a free draw for
2.
BC to open it up, and kind of out of nowhere, a skip Stoos here from Cody Tanaka. I guess in his case he'd be a third Stoos, because technically the one holding the broom is the skip, so that's Vic, but
he calls a good game.
He does. He calls a great game, and he plays to the strength of the other 3 on his team.
Final shot, the first end, drawing in for 2.
A little further out on this path than he was on the first one, but we saw a couple of draws already down there in the opening end, and this one just looks like a medium sweep, we'll call it, but got to make sure they find the paint and give him a view of what it would look like to get to the 4 foot. So he sees it, but great start for British Columbia. They're on the board with 2. We've had a great week on the ice here, Keith, but off the ice there's been a lot of things happening, and last night the players, all these players out here, and the all the other provinces and territories helped with a silent auction for the annual Travelers Championship. And this year for this foundation, they raised just over $6,500 through just the silent auction for the Curling Canada Foundation, which helps youth curling across Canada. It's going to help these participants in future years that could come through this championship and Canadian Junior Championships and get into curling clubs. That each province and territory brought items to be bid on. The locals here in Miramichi got behind the bidding, and they raised a lot of money, and that's just from the silent auction.
Wow.
The teams themselves were raising money online, and that, I believe, is closing at 10 a.m. if I'm not mistaken right now, so I think you still have 45 minutes to go online to donate, and that goes directly to the Curling Canada Foundation. The team that raises the most money through all of this will be their incremental ballot chances increase to winning an all-expense paid trip to Las Vegas for the 2019 World Financial Group Continental Cup of Curling at the Orleans Arena. They get hotels, flights, whether you're from Nunavut or you're from Calgary, you get flown down there as the team, the winning team. Although I will say the Prince Edward Island women told me they don't want flights. They want to take the Travelers RV that's on all the marketing. They want to find that and drive that from Cornwall, Prince Edward Island to Las Vegas, and I told them we would
look into that.
If we did it, we would give them 4 video cameras and have ourselves a great YouTube hit on our hands
Yeah.
because they've been a lot of fun this week. But a lot of money raised for that, and it goes both. It's the credit to the players and credit to the community here in Miramichi for getting behind it, and the folks that have chipped in online.
And we've talked about that, and just to clarify what Darren was talking about, if you go on the website and you click on teams and just say, for example, BC, come down to men's, click on men's, and then all the men's team will show up, and underneath each team it says support your team. And when you click on that icon, it'll open up the fundraising page, and you can make your donations right there.
Great shot there by Mark. Get around the guard. It does slip behind the button, so we'll give Robin a chance here, Robin Nathanson, a chance to freeze onto it. But the scoring area is tight already in this second end. See this rock hanging out a little further than we saw Mark's stone, but
Wow. I think he might be shot by a half of a centimeter.
pretty close.
Just an update, a recap on the standings overall in both pools. Nova Scotia and Manitoba finished at 5-1. Quebec was next at 4-2. Nice, top three. Went on to playoffs. Alberta 3-3. Yukon and Prince Edward Island were 2-4. Nunavik was 0-6. In Pool B, BC 6-0, followed by Saskatchewan at 5-1, Ontario 4-2, Northern Ontario 3-3, New Brunswick 2-4, Newfoundland Labrador 1-5, and Northwest Territories 0-6. And it was real nice how the draw ended up. Alberta and Quebec were both tied. And the last game of round robin, they actually played against each other. So the team that won that was going to finish third, and it went an extra end to boot. So, but it was really nice. I talked to both teams, and they said, you know what, that was just a great way to do it.
Another
it was
Olympic
on the
event.
ice.
Yeah,
it was on the ice. And
yeah, sorry, Keith.
Yep.
The Nova Scotia rink too, playing against Manitoba in their last round robin game, and the winner of that getting getting an extra advantage of going right to the semi too. So sometimes at round robins you get lucky as organizers, and you get those consequential final games.
Yeah, and there was quite a few of them. And by coming first in your pool, you didn't have to play last night at 6:30. There was no tiebreaker, so they didn't have to get on the ice at 9:30. There was a few on the ladies' side, and then semifinals yesterday afternoon our quarterfinals were at 1:30.
Yeah, I think some of the elite players, the extra game is not always a disadvantage at the elite level because you're used to playing so much every week. But at this level, these teams are outside of their provincials are not used to playing 5, 6, 7 games in a week. So that extra day off or game off is really helpful for them to
advantageous,
reset.
Very advantageous. Sure. Because the bodies are a little sore.
My body's a little sore.
Just going up and down stairs.
Yeah. What a great end shaping up here with BC. They do have those 2 rocks behind the 4-foot, which they'd probably like to not have there, but that certainly changes things with a really nice freeze there by Trevor. Women's event right now, Alberta jumped off to a big start. You can watch that game on sheet 5 on the Bell stream. Or just run 2 browsers if you want to count them both. But Alberta with a 3 in the first end with hammer. So Nova Scotia's got their work cut out for them already. So we see Travis Stone here made a great shot in the first end. We'll need a big one here again to give them a chance for getting back their 2 points.
Watching the line, wanting to curl a bit. Definitely by the guard, looking for a little push.
Pretty good.
Yeah. In the bronze medal games, we have Ontario up 1-0 over Saskatchewan in men's play. And in ladies play, can you see it from your angle, Darren?
In the bronze?
Yes.
It is the Territories on the board with a single in the first end over Ontario 1-0.
Now, there was a question asked me, and do they have the clock in their provincial play downs?
It varies. I believe it's up to the member associations to decide on that, if I'm not mistaken. And I know in Ontario they do. It's a good practice for sure for them,
Yes.
because it can be a factor. It can be almost a distraction for some of these teams early in the week. By now, all 8 of the teams out here, I'm sure, are comfortable with it. But those first few games, if you don't know where you should be, and after 3 ends, then there's doubt, and it's kind of the front end's job to manage that a little bit by checking the clock. But yeah, it can be a factor.
Okay. And just for you recreational ones are watching the game because you have friends going, what we mean by the clock, there's a 30-minute thinking time clock that's allowed a game. Each team's allowed 2 timeouts. I always take a look at the clock at the end of 4 to see where they are. If we're plus or minus, you'd like to be that 15-minute plus. It's from the time that they are in the hack.
Thinking when the skip takes control of the house until, in this case here, we watch Mark, from the time Mark reaches the back of the house there with the rock in hand is when it stops. So it doesn't penalize a team that, back in the old days, as we say, it was all running time. So if you were playing a lot of draws, it could have penalized you because your actual shots took longer.
Yeah. And just like a lot of sports now, we're just trying to keep the play going forward.
Mark McNamara's rock over curl on him and roll out. Yeah, time really wasn't a factor. I did see one game where a women's team ran out of time.
Yeah, Newfoundland.
But their shot was, as it was coming down, it wasn't made, which would have been an unfortunate situation if the shot was made.
Well, and we were doing that game, and Newfoundland, and she was down at this end where Cody is now, and she had about 47 seconds, and we were surprised that she was down at this end. And then by the time she got down to the other end, she was about 16 seconds, and then she went through her routine and the clock, and we're going, she's not going to get that. And the umpire was there, keeping track of everything, and sure enough, the rock was still in her hand when the time ran out.
Yeah, the umpires have done a great job this week. We have a crew from the Maritimes here helping with the event. A good event for them is an event where they have to not be involved in any of the games and let the players officiate themselves, which they've done. But at this level, they do the measurements, and we got a really cool picture of them up on our Twitter this morning for Curling Canada.
Yeah, that is a good one.
Yeah, you can use the hashtag TCCC2018, and look at Vic's shot here coming into the umbrella. Pretty good now. There's it is open for Mark McNamara to hit it, but that stone of Vic's is not going anywhere anytime soon, at least. Kurt knows that he's just calling for, I don't know if he's going to play quiet weight or more of a normal shot on it. Oh, it looks like he's calling the big weight.
Let's get rid of some of this red.
Yeah. If you're Nova Scotia, though, you got the one in the top there, which is in a pretty good spot. But all of BC stones are T-line or deeper, we're yet to reach skip stones. And
get rid of
it's
one.
a nice result. Yeah. Sitting first and third for Nova Scotia.
A big thank you has to go out to the many sponsors to make this event possible. The City of Miramichi, Province of New Brunswick, Curling NB, Tim's, Subway, Pizza Light, Towns Auto, and our presenting sponsor, Travelers Canada. It's better under the umbrella.
Yeah, and if you're Nova Scotia right now, you're better on top of the umbrella there.
But just a super group. Sean Ingersoll, the president of the Miramichi Curling Club here. How this all started, Sean and his crew won the provincial Travelers a few years ago and went to Ottawa and competed. Loved the event and said, you know what, boys? I think we could do that here in the Miramichi.
And what a job they did, for sure. In this facility, 6 sheets in a town this size, to have a facility this big, this spacious, and this well laid out is just fantastic for an event of this size. So Cody, it's a nice quiet wave. We seem to throw a lot of big wave hits this week, but that was a nice delicate shot to sit 2 as a result of it. Chance for a double though, and if Kirk can make this, he could be sitting 4 after this shot, which would put a ton of pressure on Cody in his last one for BC.
Nova Scotia does have the hammer, and going back to what Darren was talking about, because right attached to the rink is the information center for the town. So it makes a great foyer and lobby for entertainment. They had a comedian this week. Last night they had 2 outstanding singers, performers that there was a lot of dancing.
Yeah, and Raglan Road, they were a lot of fun here.
And it was just, and everything flows because you're adjacent to the rink and upstairs, and teams don't go have to another venue. It's all right here. So when they got done playing last night, they had a chance to change, have a little bite to eat, and go down and enjoy the entertainment and the fellowship that follows.
Big shot here for Kurt Roach if he can pull off this double. Might be hitting the high side though. That will
got it. That will do. Lovely shot by Kirk.
Yep.
Very calm. I don't know if the heart rate got above 48 beats.
Plan B on the result, but it worked for sure. Yeah.
He goes, yeah, okay. Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, thumbs up. He doesn't throw a ton of emotion out there. He's very even-keeled. I interviewed him last night after his win, and he was pretty low-key guy, which is what you need sometimes in a skip, is someone that's even-keeled.
Calm. Well, a perfect example for the BC team, right?
Yeah. And a really good dynamic with Cody and Vic. But a big shot here for Cody he can flop under on his hit. It will make it a little more challenging for Nova Scotia to pick up their 3. The out-turn hit and roll here, trying to get a bit buried behind the front 8-foot one.
Got a hit and he got a little roll.
Yeah, pretty good. Leaves it open enough though, where Kurt Roach is going to try and hit what he can see of it. Yeah, back to what you're talking about with the facility here, Keith. We always say that this is kind of like a mini Brier, mini Scotties for these athletes, and I really felt that last night. It was like a Brier patch over there with the band and all the players. We had locals come in to enjoy the music. It really, this event this year has had that feel, and Sean and his team have done a fantastic job organizing it.
And just so many volunteers to make this event happen. Here is the final shot here of the second end, Nova Scotia.
Travis is on this early. Travis Stone on the brush to get by that top 8-foot one. This is diving towards it though.
That curl.
They might get a lucky break though with this rubbing in. Not
like
quite.
Could be a
so
steal.
A big steal of 1 for BC. Wow. And a chance for 3 goes to the wayside.
Got it inside. Probably got it inside the broom there, and it bit in. But yeah, because there were some teams all done playing, so they could sort of let their hair down a little bit.
Yeah, there's still 1 day left for those teams here in Miramichi. Still lots of time for Nova Scotia to come back. I know it probably feels defeating, especially when you have a shot for 3. You could have had even 4 lined up in that end. But as you said earlier at the top of the broadcast, Keith, 8 ends. We've seen some pretty big comebacks on both the men's and the women's events. So even down 3 is nothing to be too concerned about for Nova Scotia. But the work to be done for them.
Yep. Darren has touched on the Scotties and whatnot. We've got a big calendar of the Seasons of Champions. 2018 Home Hardware Canada Cup will be in the Saskatchewan, and that's December 5th to 9th. And that will be followed up by the World Financial Group Continental Cup, January 17th to 20th in Vegas. The New Holland Canadian Juniors, January 19th to 27th, back in Saskatchewan, in Prince Albert this time. And the Scotties will be in Sydney, Nova Scotia, February 16th to 24th. And the Granddaddy, the Tim Hortons Briar, March 2nd to 10th. And I already know that there's some folks from here.
Some of the drivers were saying they were headed there.
Yeah, they're going to Brandon, Manitoba for the Briars. And finishing up with the World Men's Curling Championship, and that will be in Lethbridge, Alberta, March 30th to April 7th. So, as always, Darren, Curling Canada has a lot of outstanding events going on in our country. And all these communities do such an outstanding job, and we were talking about the volunteers, and it's a pride of their community, because we have 28 teams here this week, 14 women, 14 men, and for I'm going to say the vast majority of them, maybe besides some folk from PEI, Nova Scotia, never been to the Miramichi, this region, and it's a beautiful region and area, and the pride of the community and the volunteers to be able to showcase their little spot of heaven for a week, it means a lot.
So corner guard goes up for Nova Scotia. They're attempting to get at least their 2 points this end. So you see Robin Nathanson lead for the team from Sydney.
Yeah.
This will crash on the guard, but spill into the house. Just.
And Saskatchewan has taken a 2-1 lead over Ontario men's play. 1-1 Ontario and Northwest Territories ladies.
And I believe
we're getting down to
Alberta
final.
stole, if I'm not mistaken, unless it was a blank end on sheet E. We'll see in a second, but they're excuse me, in the hack ready to throw. So if they did steal, then Alberta's on their way to a great start.
Yeah.
In our game, a bit of clearing going on for BC as they're ahead, so they're going to be adjusting a little bit to a more defensive style.
And Nova Scotia would love to get a deuce at least here to get back within 1 point, giving BC the hammer. Not what they need right now.
No. Travis Stone with a great corner guard, great curling name. He's calling it a couple of his games earlier and trying not to come up with too many puns, but it was a steal of 1 for Alberta on the women's side. So Morgan Muse and her Calgary team have a 4-0 lead over Michelle Williams out of the Lakeshore Curling Club in Lower Sackville, Nova Scotia. Trevor Backen has to peel the corner guard. He peels it off, jams, but doesn't spill it into the house, which is a good result. Loses a
Keeping it open. Talking about the women's play, the final standings in the women's pool was Northwest Territories and Alberta, both 5-1. Next was Saskatchewan, British Columbia, 3-3. Northern Ontario and Quebec, 2-4, and Quebec came on their last 2 games of the round robin to get their victories and feeling pretty good about themselves at the end. And Nunavik was 1-5. And Pool B, no, you loved this one, didn't you? Nova Scotia, Ontario, Manitoba, Newfoundland, Labrador, 4-2. That's right, all of them, 4-2. The war room was busy that night. New Brunswick 2-4, Prince Edward Island 2-4, and the Yukon 1-5. And the Prince Edward Island ladies were playing Ontario. They were down 7-1. That's right, folks, 7-1 at the break with hammer, though. They scored 2 in the 5th. Okay, come back 2. That's right. Stole 1 in the next end. Stole another. Went extra ends. they won 8-7. So they were down 7-1, came back and won 8-7.
Some incredible shots in the extra end in that game. Yeah, as complicated as that was, we've had even more complicated in Kelowna in 2016. And it was Morgan Muse's team who, I think it was all a 4-2 record, so it was all the same, but they'd all beaten each other equally. And in this case, for this event, Nova Scotia had the better of the records, so they did get the bye to the semi. But in Kelowna, we were in a room analyzing last stone draws before the game and the totals, and it actually was the Alberta team there that got the bye, but they did not think they had the better draws, so it came down to draws to the button. It was so close. I think teams were happier that it came down to head-to-head in this case.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a fun 30 minutes sorting that out.
Well, and explain to the folks at home that may not know what you mean by draw to the button.
Yeah, before each game, the round robin, the teams, their last stone has to be thrown to the button. Each player has to do it at least once in their round robin, and they have selected turns that need to be used. And the officials come out, measure it, it's totaled up, and then their scores are totaled to see which team. First off, it gets the hammer determined for that game, and secondly, it will help in a tiebreaker situation where we have head-to-head not sorted out. So it's a backup in case it is needed, and we don't have that way we don't have a extra tiebreaker.
Yes, because the schedules are tight.
As we see Vic Shimizu with a double peel attempt.
Good shot.
Good shot by Vic. BC continues to sit 2 in this game. And open, but there is a corner guard, and that corner guard is a little bit longer now and a little bit easier for Mark McNamara to get around.
Last year we had a chance to broadcast the U18 championship down in St. Andrews, New Brunswick. Is that going on again this year?
It is, and I cannot think of where that is. But
That's all right.
Yeah, no,
it's all right.
Yeah,
you can see, folks, we do not plan these questions.
Yeah, I know that there's the Canadian. Great shot by Mark.
Yeah.
Dig in there.
But what a great event to have, because what's the age group for junior? 21?
Yes.
Yeah. And that sort of leaves out those 16, 17-year-old kids. It's a big difference when 16 to 20, 21.
Yeah, and if you're in a province like Manitoba and Ontario, it's often not until you're 20 or 21 that you get to represent your province because the curling is so deep at the junior level. For those provinces, it's really helpful to have that, but it's also good exposure for, in the same way that the Travelers is to the Brier. It allows people to get to a national stage because wearing that jacket for the first time, I talked to the New Brunswick women here, and they said those first 4 ends, they had a really close opening game and almost knocked off Manitoba.
Yeah, 9-7.
And she said after the 4th end, they played so well, and she said those first 4 ends for Anouk on their team were a lot of nerves, and wearing the jacket was that much. So we see Cody just peel off the guard and roll almost into the house, but that's going to slide. Take a last spin, not quite.
Oh.
So New Brunswick, I should say, Nova Scotia should have a chance to get their 2 points this end. Not sure what if you're looking at, there's a technical timeout. I don't know if a rock was burnt here or not. Or did he throw the wrong color rock? He threw the wrong color rock, I believe.
The wrong number.
I think the wrong color. Yeah. So in that case, it's not a foul.
No.
And you see here our officials play rock.
That's an intro. I never saw that one before.
Oh, I've seen it at. I'm not going to call her out. I know she's not watching, but
okay.
I've seen a certain lead out there on a women's team throw that a couple times the wrong color on television at the Scotties.
Yeah.
No.
Oops. That's an oops.
But it's not a foul. Yeah. If you're watching and wondering. In fact, gives Kurt Roach another chance to throw with that rock.
Yeah.
But I'm sure they would have loved if it spun in and they could just keep it there, but that's not the case.
Well, and talking about wearing the jacket, I had an opportunity to talk to some of the teams. First big moment was when they won their province to receive the jacket, and then when they arrived here and they seen all the other provinces and territories coming out with their jackets on. That's when it was like, wow, this is national. This is like you see on TV.
Right. So we see Kurt Roach there with a hit and roll. Pretty good spot for it. It's a really flat double. Yeah, we made sure that the clothing that's provided for the players was in their hotel rooms when they checked in on last weekend.
Yeah.
Which is I think a really nice touch, and the Rod Miramichi hotel there was able to help us with that, because a lot of these players, it's their first time here, so and they traveled. Look at the BC team that would have had at least 2 flights to get here, if not more.
Yeah.
So to walk into their hotel room and see the provincial colors is kind of a nice touch for them.
Yeah.
Cody with the big weight here. Can't make the double, but with that weight, you might be able to make the double. Oh, he does. Wow, great shot. I'm not
he did it to Darren again.
I'm not going to say that again about Cody Tanaka. Wow. On the camera angle above us here, it didn't look like that was
possible.
Yeah, it looked more flat than it was. So pretty deflating there for Nova Scotia.
Because they had a nice end setting up there.
Set up for sure. Can't let his guard down here. Kurt Roach needs to get his single. That ice, it looks like he's drawing to the 8-foot.
Final shot. The third end. Of this gold medal game between British Columbia and Nova Scotia.
Just a light clean there by Stone and McNamara. Stone and Nathanson. And they're on the board,
yeah.
Nova Scotia with a single and 3.
Yeah. Well, in our other going around the horn here, we're all tied up at 2-2 with the men, Saskatchewan and Ontario in the bronze medal. In the other bronze medal game on the ladies' side is Ontario and Northwest Territories all tied up at 1. And Alberta has come out with a 4-0 lead, 3 in the first, 1 in the second, to go up 4-0 over Nova Scotia.
Yeah, you're in the Maritimes when an organizer gives you a bottle of lobster during to take home during the broadcast, and you go to reach for your coffee and you think it's your coffee. So thankfully there's a lid on it. It's awfully early to be drinking a bottle of lobster, but
well, if you're really hungry.
Yeah, looks great. They had a lot of extra things here at the Travelers with some lobster draw where you could win a crate of it or a flat of it. So there's lots of seafood.
Well, and that's the first time I've ever seen it in like preserved bottles. It's all kind. Individually, they would sell them for like over $37, and they were having draws. You could buy tickets for $5 for a case of it.
Yeah, with the proceeds going to the Miramichi Junior Curling Program, they would have raised hundreds of dollars from at least 2 draws they had this week, and 50-50 raffles all throughout the week as well. The center guard goes up for Nova Scotia. They're very talented at the aggressive game, and they need it right now as they trail 2 without Hammer playing the 4th. It'd be nice to go into the break with if they can get a steal, but BC will be happy if they're even able to score in even ends is so important, especially in a shorter 8-end game. Retain Hammer. This rock's coming up light, not what they wanted from BC to start with. So they have two center guards to deal with, and that will make the Cape Breton team happy.
And Kirk had that third end was a good end. They had everything set up, but an outstanding shot by Cody to change the tables, and Kirk had to draw in for a single.
So we see Robin Nathanson here, the lead. This team was in Kelowna 2 years ago, minus Travis Stone. He's a new addition to the squad. But he has national experience at the junior level. He played 2010 in Sorel Tracy. This rock will come up light, but better light than deep in the house on this one. We do play with the 4-rock free guard zone rule at this year's Travelers event. Reason for that is all these teams qualified. All the teams that you're watching on this sheet qualified last season. 2 provinces determined their winners this season, yes. So just a few weeks ago. That was Alberta and Ontario. They still play under the 4-rock rule here because that's how they qualified. That and the mixed championship played under the 4-rock rule. Going forward, though, this event and the mix would be a 5-rock rule.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. So this year 5-rock.
This will slip a little deep, so if you're Nova Scotia, you're happy with how this is shaping up to start with. You got 1 behind the tee line, you got 3 center guards. Your job now is to sink one in there and then protect it to generate a possible steal.
Nova Scotia ladies were able to get a single in the 3rd, so it's now 4-1, but Alberta has the hammer. Sweepers are working hard on it.
A lot of help to get there. Stone's rock will come up well short of the rings. See the hardware on the ice prepared for the ceremony after the games today.
Let's put no pressure on them.
No, right?
Yeah, let's bring that table out. Let's put the big cup up there and all the medals. Yeah, right there. It's actually right beside the mat.
Yeah, don't look at it.
Yeah, no superstitions there.
No,
Right?
I've been to a few Scotties where that usually comes out at about the 8th end with pipers and mounties carrying the beautiful Tournament of Hearts trophy, and that is always a super awkward moment for the teams, especially if you have a lead and you want to look over at it. You don't. You really want to just focus on your game. So the men have a little of a distraction, but sitting beside them in a good way. So that's a great shot, though, by the BC team to just sink one in. Better weight on it.
There's a better weight this time. Now just wanting to curl.
Now. Yeah. Pretty good. Vic looking to see if you can freeze to the BC shot rock, if you would be shot rock. So we'll see if that's the case. It looks like there's enough room to freeze onto your own.
Trevor back in, second shot.
This rock has a lot of curling to do to get there, though. There it goes. You see Mark now sweeping it. The theory, proven theory, is wow, great result, and that will be
nice
second shot, great spot for it. Yeah, the theory being that if you're sweeping towards the direction you want, with the sweeper pushing down in that direction, that's where you want the rock to go. So you have Mark inside and pushing forward on that, so that will, in a way, break down the pebble in the direction you want your rock to curl to. So you'll hear sometimes they'll yell switch, or they'll yell for a certain sweeper. At this level, not all clubs, and most clubs, I should say, don't require the use of the WCF approved pads, but at this level, we've got a timeout here in Nova Scotia. At this level, of course, at the Nationals, you are required to use the WCF approved pad, so directional sweeping has a fairly limited impact, but any impact that you can make, you're going to try it.
Okay.
So a lot of rocks to deal with here for Kurt and his team from Nova Scotia.
Just what we like.
Yeah.
The options. And that's what we did the senior broadcast, the senior nationals a few years ago. They were in Fredericton at the Willie O'Reed Center. Beautiful facility there. And had an opportunity. We had different former skips and whatnot in the booth and whatnot. And it was the pure entertainment, Darren, was listen to these skips, because all I would do is so what do you think they're thinking about, right? And listening to them talk is okay, well, they're looking at this shot, but they're also, what does that leave the other team? And if they do that, what will that leave us? And they're like two shots ahead,
right.
And it's amazing. Like we're thinking about the shot at hand, and they're just, the thought process is like 2 or 3 shots.
Yeah, and as we get another 2 ends in, they'll be thinking about the ends ahead. We want to hold them to 1, or we want to, where they want to be with hammer and what they want the score to be. So it is chess on ice in many ways. You see the option they've taken here, I believe, is the run back on the yellow. Early sweep, but they've been called off now, and that's going to hit them too high.
Yeah, didn't get the right angle. And what was really nice, what Dale, Wayne Talon and his group in Fredericton did is, of course, they had it arena ice, obviously at the Willie O'Reed Center, and the skirting, and it looked like a Briar, right? I mean, it was perfect. And so what they did, since they had everything all set up, is after the senior nationals were done, they had back-to-back weekends, junior events for the kids. So they had teams came in from PEI and Nova Scotia all around, and they could actually perform and compete on what it'd be like on arena ice. So what a huge opportunity for those kids. Yeah. And the other thing they did for all the volunteers at the Capel Winter Club that helped out, they had their last a week of curling through the week. They were able to use the ice at the Willie O'Reed. So nice. That was a nice little thank you for all the volunteers that help out, because a lot of them never had that opportunity to play on that type of ice surface, just that venue.
As you see, Vic Shamuzi kind of cut off the path there for Nova Scotia. Yeah, arena ice, and even the ice that's been worked on here has mimicked in a lot of ways. And we talk about arena ice versus curling club ice. A lot more curl typically on arena ice. And if you don't give your rock a lot of rotation, which some club curlers are not as used to, the rock will do a lot of different things. Particularly go sideways is one of the big things. You got to give it a bit more rotation, and this ice has a lot of curl in it, and some of the teams can get caught even on hits. You can see a normal, even peel weight hit will curl a lot more on this ice than it would on traditional curling club ice. I'm fortunate enough to play at a club that has pretty similar arena ice style to it, so it has a lot of swing in it, which is nice. This rock needs to find the curl, though, to stick around. So Mark McNamara will remove it and sit at the edge of the 12-foot.
Nova Scotia does stick around. Chris Tapley, as Darren was talking about, Chris, outstanding ice maker. He's from the Fredericton area. He's gone away to different nationals. He's been with the ice crew for Canada, going to different international events. And Chris has been up here this week working with the crew of the Miramichi Curling Club, and they've done an outstanding job. We've hosted, this club has hosted provincial Scotties tournaments here before. I was up here a couple of years ago during the ice storm when the Scotties were up here. But yes, a great surface, and when you hear good comments coming from the players, that's the biggest thank you that Chris could have, and they take a lot of pride in what they do, and they want to make the best service possible, 1 through 6.
Nova Scotia has a lot of work to do here in this end to get themselves out of it. You can kind of sense the body English and they seem a little bit further set back with what they have to deal with here. You can see there's essentially 4 guards, and then BC with the staggered 2-shot rocks there. With hammer for BC, what do you do? Might be able to play the in-turn draw, but you have to make it absolutely perfect right there where Kurt just put his broom is where you need it to be, and it has to kind of be there. You can't bounce off and give another hit attempt. You don't want to be...
Got to hit them equal at the same.
Top 8-foot is not a bad result, but you have to think that BC might even just throw the guard up, and then I don't know what you do if you're Nova Scotia. So this is a big shot for Kurt. We're at the break in the men's bronze medal game. It was tied 2-2 going into the 4th end. I didn't catch what happened between Ontario and Saskatchewan, but we'll update you on that as soon as we get the score for it.
Here's the first shot for Team Nova Scotia.
There's been a few draws down here in this same path this end, so most of them have been kind of top 8, top 12. So these sweepers should know a decent split time on it. Sweeping for weight right now and line. Need to get it by that top red one.
She's biting in.
Yeah,
Darren.
Also a little light too. That will bounce. But something I might be able to use.
Vic doesn't waste much time. He knows what he wants to do.
Yeah. He's just going to throw the guard. That actually, a stone there for Nova Scotia that Kurt just threw is, and if Cody can throw up another guard, it makes it even more difficult for Nova Scotia to get anything in there. He has a lot of room to work with on this shot. Line is most important. And that's mission accomplished for Tanaka. What do you do if you're Nova Scotia here? I'm not sure. Nothing to come in off of. It's really a cold draw. Got to just squeak by that yellow stone that you just threw that rubbed off. So you're further out than you were on your last. You're further than Tanaka was on his first. And you're facing 2 counters in a 3-1 game that you're trailing.
Now, and the tendency is sometime where he was light in the first one, to give it a little bit more. And
this is pretty fresh out here, which will probably mean it will slide a little bit better. There's no frost out there, so it's not going to be too much slower.
There's the last shot for Roach.
Got to go for line, but the weight.
Starting to bite in.
The weight's a bit strong.
Yeah, and they're getting it.
They were sweeping it for line, but it didn't need it for weight.
Yeah.
And that's going to slide too deep. And BC with a huge chance to break this game wide open in a draw for 3 to the 4 foot. But even if they don't get their 3, Keith.
They got 2.
Yeah. Before Cody throws this, it was a single for Ontario. They stole in the 4th end, so they have a 3-2 lead in the men's bronze medal match over Corey Kohutch. Corey's looking for a personal podium completion here. He won the gold in 2014, silver in 2016, and was hoping to capture another medal here. So he's got a bit of work to do. But Cody in the hack throwing his final rock of the 4th end.
They just need
This is further out than Kurt's even was. It's
Sweepers are hard on it. I don't. Boy, they're working hard on it here.
It's got good rotation,
Yeah.
so it's sliding a bit more than Kurt's, and that is.
That'd be enough.
Oh wow, great shot! Oh,
I think he's got it. I think he's got it.
Wow.
They're taking a good look at it here.
I think it's 3.
I think it's 3 too.
Cody Tanaka with an
Yep.
amazing draw.
But
He has made everything today,
As
including that
much-
double in that.
as much as
third.
he likes to shoot the BBs, he's got a nice touch there too.
Wow.
So they'll go up 6-1 here at the break. We're going to take a short break here and be back for more exciting action from the 2018 Travelers Curling Club Championship, Miramichi, New Brunswick at the Miramichi Curling Club.
House, lead, rock. These are the words of our sport. Words we embody. Powerful words. Words that speak to everything we represent. Respect, togetherness, strength. Our games begin with a handshake and a kind word. We congratulate our opponents when they make a good shot. We remain silent when they falter. We even call our own fouls. When we win, we celebrate with modesty, with humility. We own our mistakes. When defeated, we concede without shame. Win or lose, we hug with abandon, because we genuinely care about our fellow athletes. Curling doesn't discriminate. The ice doesn't judge. It adapts. It accepts. Curling isn't a book to be judged by its cover. On these sheets, everyone is on the same page. It's what's on the inside that counts. The path to victory isn't always smooth. We use friction as an advantage and adversity as an opportunity. The battle is within ourselves, to improve, to advance. We dream big. We play with heart. We focus on these circles and imagine podiums in far-off places. Curling is what the world needs right now. Connection to one another, one team, one community. Curling is more than a sport. It's a lifestyle, a philosophy, a movement, a belief in self, in kindness, in good health, and in good fun. Supported by a passionate community steeped in tradition and united in pride. In a game of inches, every move counts. Are you ready to make yours? The support of the curling community makes it possible for thousands of kids across Canada to follow their dreams, on and off the ice. Thank you for giving generously. Curling teaches as much about life as it does about sport. Club, team, house, lead, rock. These are the words of our sport. Words we embody. Powerful words. Words that speak to everything we represent. Respect, togetherness, strength. Our games begin with a handshake and a kind word. We congratulate our opponents when they make a good shot. We remain silent when they falter. We even call our own fouls. When we win, we celebrate with modesty, with humility. We own our mistakes. When defeated, we concede without shame. Win or lose, we hug with abandon, because we genuinely care about our fellow athletes. Curling doesn't discriminate. The ice doesn't judge. It adapts. It accepts. Curling isn't a book to be judged by its cover. On these sheets, everyone is on the same page. It's what's on the inside that counts. The path to victory isn't always smooth. We use friction as an advantage and adversity as an opportunity. The battle is within ourselves to improve, to advance. We dream big. We play with heart. We focus on these circles and imagine podiums in far-off places. Curling is what the world needs right now. Connection to one another. One team, one community. Curling is more than a sport. It's a lifestyle, a philosophy, a movement, a belief in self, in kindness, in good health, and in good fun. Supported by a passionate community steeped in tradition and united in pride. In a game of inches, every move counts. Are you ready to make yours? The support of the curling community makes it possible for thousands of kids across Canada to follow their dreams, on and off the ice. Thank you for giving generously. Curling teaches as much about life as it does about sport. Club, team, house, lead, rock. These are the words of our sport, words we embody, powerful words, words that speak to everything we represent: respect, togetherness, strength.
3-2 over Saskatchewan, and Ontario and Northwest Territories in women's play bronze. It's all tied up at 2, and Morgan Muse and her Alberta squad is up 5-1 over Nova Scotia at the break as they begin playing the 5th end. So it's getting a little critical time in the gold medal games. The bronze is tight as we expected, and just have to wait to see what happens this end. Nova Scotia does have the hammer, so
yeah, and it'll be interesting to see. I mean, if you're BC, you went into the break in a great spot, but you have to stay focused. You're up 5, yes, but if you start thinking or looking 6 feet from where you're standing, next to you is the medals and the trophy and the banner, and your mind starts spinning. You're playing fairly routine peels and hits now. You can't let that distract you. You got to stay focused on your forehands that are ahead of you.
And I've just been watching the players as they come down the ice. They purposely aren't looking at that one.
Yeah.
Everything's focused this way, straight or to the left.
Yeah. BC would be looking to be just the second men's team to go undefeated through the Travelers Men's Championship. The last team to do it was in Ontario, was Ontario, West Forget's rink at the 2016 championship in a similar dominant performance. But they still have 4 ends to get there, or less.
And explained, like I said, a lot of time folks are tuning in because of family and friends and whatnot, and we talk about the Travelers, we talk about the club. Explain the qualifications and the eligibility that's required for the to participate in this national event.
Yeah, this event is for the club level curling. What you have for this are people that one of the more important things for it is that they all play at the same curling club to start with. They've played at the same club. Most of them have played in men's and women's leagues. They're only allowed one player who's played in a provincial or territorial juniors men's, which would be the Brier or the Scotties for the women, the seniors championship in the current or previous 4 seasons, or that they've been in a full field Grand Slam event in the current or previous 4 curling seasons. And no player on the team is going to play in the Canadian junior, men's, women's, or senior national championship in the current or previous 4 seasons. So of course, one of the ones that's not listed there is mixed. Cody was in that. We have Travis Stone from Nova Scotia, who was in juniors, but that was some 8 years ago. So you do get the odd time at the Nationals where you have someone that has that is the one person that has maybe played at something at an elite level, but it's rare that's the case. These are 4 players that spend once, twice a week playing at their club level, so they spend a lot of time together on the ice from where they represent.
And if you win it, then you're not eligible for next year.
If you win your province or territory, yes, you're not eligible. But if you win the whole event, same thing. Everyone that's here in Miramichi cannot come back next year, whether they win the event or not. But if you won your province or territory, that's correct. You're not allowed to be back, and that really grows the club talent, particularly the provinces that have fewer curlers. That they're able to send different representatives every year. Manitoba's, BC, Saskatchewan, those provinces, they often are sending different teams every year just because there's that many more curlers.
And Morgan Muse has done outstanding because it's her 35
yeah.
years every other year.
Yeah.
When she has a chance to qualify, she makes it, right?
They really, that women's team, they're up on Nova Scotia in the gold medal game. That women's team competed in a World Curling Tour stop this year in their home club at the Autumn Gold. And they didn't do it to go in to win.
No.
They went into practice for their provincials for this.
And they were 1-3. I think they played against Jennifer Jones
the
one
first
of the games. Yeah.
Yeah, they knocked off Sherry Anderson, senior champion, and of course has been to many Scotties from Saskatchewan. So 2 corner guards are up for Nova Scotia to use. But this shot by Mark McNamara, they want to wrap it around their own colored corner guard and try to generate their 2 or more points that way.
Sweeping hard there.
Now they have 3 corner guards. So Cody's taking a change of tactics now of just guarding his 2 shots. The corner guard that's British Columbia's color there is actually blocking the draw path for Nova Scotia if they wanted to draw in there.
Vic Shimizu. Did I do that right?
Shimizu? Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Weight's good. Weight's good. 2.
Talked earlier, this would be BC's second men's title, second Travelers title at the Travelers Championship, and it will be back-to-back. Bart Sawyer won last year from Nanaimo, British Columbia, and that was held in Kingston.
And where is the Travelers next year?
There hasn't been an announcement yet, but
keep an eye on the lid.
Yeah, for sure. Keep an eye on curling.ca for details on it.
Give you another reason to check out the website.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of great information on that website.
Yeah, we got the Canada Cup coming up and stories throughout the curling world.
Well, you've done a great job this week, Darren. There's been, as you can appreciate, when you have 28 teams here, there's a lot of very cool stories. I know that one of the first ones you did was the New Brunswick girls, how she was in the curling youth program. And that's the event that's sponsored through Curl Canada, through your donations and fundraising that Curl Canada puts on all across the country for our school kids to introduce them to the game of curling. And 10 years later, she was competing at the Travelers.
Yeah, Learn to Curl programs are not just vital for the actual player, but so important for the club. And I hope that this event here in Miramichi is able to boost a Learn to Curl program here. People that maybe worked in a restaurant or a hotel or heard about it being hosted here and were able to check it out, or actually grew exposure to curling in Miramichi because of it.
And if you're in your communities, wherever you're watching at, check out your local clubs because they have beginner programs. Curling is just a wonderful sport. As Darren talked about, mixed play you can do. There's fun tournaments. It's a great social interaction. It's great team building. If you want to have a function for your company and you want to go curling, talk to your local curling rink. I know they'd be more than accommodating to arrange something for you, but great sportsmanship at the young age. It checks a lot of boxes, working with others, setting goals, know how to handle success, how to handle failure, all those life skills that come important later on.
We see in this game here, Cody was trying to guard those two red rocks, but not quite covering the top 8-foot, or top 12-foot, counter, and Kurt might have a chance to make a double and roll, or at least hit and roll over on the front one now. He's got to come up with his 2 points in this end.
Yeah, we hosted, in St. John, hosted the Women's Worlds a few years ago, and really get the kids at schools involved. They picked a country, and they had to do research on the country, and they were making posters and whatnot going down to Harbor Station. They brought the Little Rocks into the school gyms and whatnot. We had a pond hockey tournament, and they had a section where everyone could throw rocks, and just promoting the sport leading up to the Worlds, and that's the domino effect by hosting an event there. It really creates the awareness for the sport in the community.
See Kurt looking at the double here.
Ontario and Saskatchewan now are all tied up in the men's play, as well as the women in the bronze. That bronze, that's about, because you know what? You don't want to come fourth.
Yeah.
You don't want to come fourth.
Come home with the medal.
You want to come home with that.
And not a lot of time to recover for these. From their losses last night, those games wrapped up at around 8:30 or so, and they're back on the ice 9 Atlantic here this morning. So not a lot of time to recover from being that close to being in the gold medal game, so it could be a mental challenge.
Yeah, 2-2 in the ladies, 3-3 for the men. Alberta's holding on to a 5-1 lead over Nova Scotia in the ladies' gold.
And Kurt here, Kurt Roach is, they talked about it for quite some time on this shot and how you make the double and keep your shooter, and it's tricky because the stagger on these two red BC stones, it means that you have to play it, you can't play big weight on it and keep your shooter. So I suspect he's playing more for the roll than make the double. With that sort of ice, it's not going to be normal takeout weight for Kurt. Looks like more of a hack weight shot.
His first shot here in the fifth end.
This needs to move. Wants to keep his shooter is the most important part of this shot, and he won't. It removes the one BC counter, but the shooter looks to me, although it took a spin at the end, but yeah, you can see a lot of white there.
Yeah.
And now the BC counter is at least 3/4 buried. You probably have a better view of where you're sitting, but it's pretty buried there for BC, and Cody's going to throw another guard on it.
There's a big buzz going on in the house here because the 50-50 draw is being announced. Are 50-50s big out in Ontario out west too?
They're not. It's not like a Rough Riders game, but
well, I was saying to the folks, I was in Edmonton there for a conference there a few years ago, and a buddy of mine they had season tickets at his company. $50,000 for the winner.
Yeah.
At 50-50.
There's been some massive hits out west. Great guard there by Cody Tanaka. I missed a 50-50 draw. The Ottawa Briar couple years ago by 3 numbers. So, yeah, I still think of that now.
Should have bought that at the book of tickets.
That's right. That's right. So Nova Scotia is trying to figure out how they're going to get a single point here.
Yeah,
And
the
they're
wall has been
looking-
set up here.
Yeah, they're looking at. Briefly, they looked at the double, the in-off, the one that's near the .ca and Travelers Canada, but they don't think that's there. And this is an angle through a port run that they're now looking at. Equally, if not more difficult, this one, but it's really tough.
And that's where you have the video afterwards and you go, okay, how did we get in this position? What happened to create this?
Playing hard for with the corner guards. I mean, they were doing what they needed to do, but and really good rock placement by the front end of British Columbia. Not letting their rock slip to the back of the house, having the stagger on the front red ones was really helpful for them. But this needs some heroic effort here by Kurt Roach on a long angle run. Contact on the first one.
Good.
What
You
a
got it.
shot.
Nice shot.
The shot of the game
Yeah.
from Kurt Roach, and they hope that's the turning point. Wow.
Great shot.
To even make contact with that second one, but to stick it right there for the single.
Perfect shot.
Great shot. A little bit of a boost for the Nova Scotia team, at least in the shot making there. That's big for them, but still have a lot of work to do on the scoreboard as they trail 4 without Hammer, and we get set to play the 6th end of an 8-end gold medal game in Miramichi.
We started play here on Monday afternoon with the ladies, and then we had a lovely opening ceremonies fit with bagpipes, and then the men's draw went in the evening. And it was really nice through the week. We had always 3 women and 3 men's matches going on, and then yesterday, of course, to try to be consistent with time, we went back to full draws of women play and then men, so they could get ready for if they had to play their tie breaks or quarterfinals the next day. So is that sort of a running format that you have, Darren, for championships?
Yeah, for the Travelers, it's kind of the standard draw. The provinces, the pools change depending on how things shaped up the previous year and so on. But and it depends on how many sheets. We were in Kelowna 2 years ago at a 12-sheeter.
Oh,
that was great because we only had 2 draws a day. And so we actually,
Yay.
and the curling club was able to still function normally during that in the evening. So that was nice. But the players, actually, many of them commented on enjoying the fact that they could come watch more curling at a 6-sheeter than having most of the teams out there.
All at once.
Yes,
yeah. And it creates that social atmosphere.
Right.
Like what they have been doing here is after the each draw, the teams come upstairs and there's been a great food spread out for them to have a bite to eat and socialize, not only with the teams that they played against, but also family and friends that have been here supporting them. Must have been a biter back. Back corner.
Wow.
Yeah,
our
6-3.
overhead here did not.
Yeah.
On our
Well, we couldn't
in-house
see
overhead.
that.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Well, that's update. Darren has an
Breaking
update. Breaking news.
Regarding the biter at the back. Our overhead here at the Miramichi for the other end, we weren't able to see the biter at the back that it was actually in from. It shows you the deceiving angle that we're at here where we can see a lot of white. It didn't look like that was in, so it was a 2-point, a big 2 points then for Nova Scotia. Down 3 playing 6. Makes that run back even more important. They didn't even use the biter bar on it.
Didn't see it. Yeah, so when I was in Edmonton, I had a chance to go to Kevin Martin's curling club up there, and when we were there for a conference, and we all got a chance to play at that facility. And Kevin came up afterwards with his Olympic gold medal, and people were getting pictures taken with Kevin and biting the medal, holding the
Right.
medal. It was
Imagine
a
how-
heavy medal.
Yeah, the Vancouver ones were quite heavy. Neat thing to do. Those medals see a lot of miles. You see them pop up wherever they go. So pretty cool.
No, it was a great week in Edmonton, because the Seville Center, outstanding facility there in Edmonton. Basketball, Alberta has a facility there where University of Alberta plays their home game, basketball games and volleyball games. There's gymnastics facility, there, tennis facilities there. Of course, the curling rink is there. And as Kevin goes, listen, we have to do this because we really don't have a lot of nice weather out here. So we have to try to have as many things indoors as possible, but that's outstanding facility that they have in Edmonton.
Good start here for Nova Scotia in the 6th end. They got one in the 4-foot above the tee line, just above the tee line, and they had 2 guards, but one was peeled off by BC, but Travis Stone is looking to replace it. 2 BC stones off to the side. So they will be, as we say, guarding that yellow for their life right now in this game, that's for sure.
You know, and that shot that he made there, get a little life into the Nova Scotia boys.
Yeah, good, for sure. Trevor asked for the peel. Single peel that works, does the trick. It's a tight guard, and Nova Scotia will look to throw down a longer guard on it. Don't want to set up a double peel chance.
I can't get over, like, we've been doing this all week, but just how fast the games do go. Like, you know, it just seems you get settled in, you get chatting away, and all of a sudden it's a break. And all of a sudden, look, it's the 7th end, and wow, where did that go?
Right.
And obviously, Team Nova Scotia would like to slow.
Right, yeah.
Don't want it to go too fast here, but they need a little help. They've got a good rock in place in this 6th end. See if they can build on it to steal 1 or maybe 2.
Sweepers are really working on this. Mark McNamara actually turned around on it after he threw it. He knows it's light. They're just going to struggle to get this over, but it's close. Really got to get it over. What a sweep
Wow.
by Nathanson and Stone to get that over.
Oxygen.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, McNamara knew out of his hand he threw it light, so.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, I think there's a thanks. Yeah, a little fist bump there.
Yeah.
It is long, so it's accessible to get to the tight guard, but it's better to have it there than back at the backboards at this end now. Shamuzi will remove the tight guard, spin in his shooter. Not that they need any more of those rocks over there, but
quite a collection.
Yeah, it makes it that much more daunting for Nova Scotia without hammer.
Well, one of the boys from the member sheet says everything breaks to the water.
Is that
That's
that
it.
way?
The water's
Okay.
over there. Center.
Center guy there,
Yeah.
Mark.
Let's get that out of there.
Field again.
And of course, he
Towards the Miramichi River.
towards the Miramichi. Now we're into skip stones here.
Yeah, you play this out as it's shaping up. Leave Tanaka needing a piece of the button on his last. If Kirk can put one, replace the guard that was just there, and Tanaka peels it, puts another one up, and
Last one, try to draw in, and if it's a little long, a little short, it'd be a steal of one for Nova Scotia.
doesn't want to leave a hole, because if Tanaka gets a shot at that
And throw
shot
BB.
rock, he'd throw it.
Yeah.
And he doesn't
Curl.
leave the hole.
Yeah.
Well, he's looking. He's actually going to try the run, I think.
Seems
It's
to
a
be the
long
shot.
run.
Yeah.
It's a long run, but he can throw so much weight.
Cody likes the challenge, right?
And he throws so much weight that if he is able to, if he gets, a slightly off nose, his rocks will bounce off pretty good. And this is a heater coming down here.
Let's come across the face there a bit. No.
It's not really in the way, though,
No.
because, actually, and this is interesting, he's going to have to put one right in the perfect spot to avoid a double here, Kurt Roach.
His last shot here in the sixth end, 6-3 BC. And BC has the hammer. We're so glad that you could join us today on our broadcast. Vive TV1, powered by Bell Aligned, is happy to be bringing this with you. Darren McEwen in the house, giving his expertise and background knowledge on these teams at this championship. Darren has been nonstop interviewing players after the game, uploading some pictures online and some video too.
Yeah, we got some social media content on our channels. Kurt needs to freeze to his shot rock. You gotta hide this one. Second shot, he'll get that, and he'll hide it really nicely. So he did the job, and that's a great shot for Kurt. And a bit of pressure now for Cody Tanaka. He's not really faced too many pressure shots this game, and this one certainly is it. He did make a beautiful draw in the fourth end coming this way, coming towards the glass, towards us, but it was the other side, but he needs to better it on the outturn side. A piece of the umbrella really is what he needs.
Sweepers are on it just to keep it clean. Getting a little bit more intense, letting it go.
Line's great.
It's all guards to the weights.
They leave it too long. Pretty close. He's gonna outcount the one, and he's got his single. Wow.
Whoa! Just I think by a couple inches.
Just gets it there, and that's a
shot.
big point. Facing two.
I mean, Nova Scotia did everything they could there.
Yeah, they did, and that's deflating for sure. They're for Nova Scotia, but a sigh of relief for British Columbia and the team from Richmond as they go up 7-3 now, playing the 7th end in this 8-end final. Alberta in the women's gold medal game cracked another 2 points in the 6th end, so they are in full control of that game. 7-2, 5-point lead playing the 7th end. In a similar situation, they got a further ways to look over at the spoils that will go to them, but it's tough in those last 2 ends, whether you're trailing or winning. Of course, you'd rather be in the driver's seat.
I think Saskatchewan got a point in that last end for the men. They're just posting the score now, where Ontario came up just a little short on their final shot.
Hey, get it in there, boys.
So Saskatchewan, I think.
Sorry.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
wrong way, wrong team. Ontario's 4-3. Saskatchewan was a little light on their last shot.
So it'll be a similar end, this end that Nova Scotia played in the 5th, where they wanted to throw corner guards to start the end, try and generate extra counters or potential counters on the side of the sheet, let BC work through the middle, and then hopefully Nova Scotia can open it up at the end and get their, they'd really want 3 points in this end at least to. We see the first throw through of the game, this coming from BC on his second rock, throw the first one in and not even bother with the guard, or putting the second one in, I should say. If you're new to curling and watching that, that was not a mistake. That was the call. Fewer rocks in play. Every rock in play now for BC is actually a potential vulnerability for their team. So keeping it clean and being as defensive as possible.
You don't want to give them any fuel.
Right.
So now, are you based out of Toronto?
Ottawa.
Ottawa?
Yeah, I live in Ottawa. The Ottawa Curling Club.
Nice. Good central spot so you can fly all over the country. Wherever you're needed, right there.
Right. Yeah, I just help out with the Travelers Championship every year, the last few years. So help out with a few other events here and there. The trials last year in Ottawa were a great success, and I was involved with that. As we see Trevor Bacon with the appeal on the corner guard. Cody joined this team, I believe he was telling me just last year, to play in their playdowns, or to play in their league with this team and to go through the BC playdowns.
Gotta be
If
even.
it's not last year, it was the year before. It was a new addition to this foursome. The other guys had curled together for a while, and they wanted to bring on actually, it was a 5-person team for a bit. They're just 4 here in Miramichi. Similar story actually on the Nova Scotia team, in that the all but Travis Stone had played together for a few seasons, and then he was added in the last year as well.
And a good addition. Obviously, by the result, getting in the gold medal.
Yeah, if it plays out and BC is winning, if they win the gold and Nova Scotia wins the silver, it takes a while for that to maybe set in if you're Nova Scotia.
Oh, it does. It does. You have to lose to get a silver.
Yeah, and they certainly have had a really great week here, and hopefully, if that's the way it ends, that Nova Scotia will realize that they earned the silver, they won the silver.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they won it because of their outstanding play throughout the week. I was fortunate enough to be in a national final in volleyball, and we lost in the final. And of course, You got the silver medal, but you lost. And that took a while. But at the banquet, we had some maritime teams come up. They go, "Do you know what you guys just did?" And we go, "Well, we lost in the final." They go, "No, you took on." It was Ontario that we played in the championship. You go, "You won a silver medal at nationals," like, and then all of a sudden it clicked and go, "Okay, yeah, that is a big deal."
Right.
Right, and they've had an outstanding week here in curling. They need a little help here in the seventh end to see if they can extend this. And but regardless, anytime you have you make it to a national final, you've done an outstanding job.
We see Vic with the peel and roll over to guard his own, but yeah, it's a great accomplishment, and there's 12 other teams that would trade spots with the silver medal team in a heartbeat. So.
The tough one is going to be over next to us. There, these bronze medal games going on.
So they're both of the women's and men's bronze medal games are very close right now. Of course, if this game does end early, or we're a little ahead right now by a couple rocks. So if it does, we'll switch over, of course, to the men's bronze medal game at that point. See Kurt calling Mark McNamara to play behind the corner guard now, ignoring the rock that's in just biting the top 8 foot. This rock needs to curl. It also needs the sweep for the weight, but they had to wait on the curl to get it there. Does he get paint? No.
Oh, just a little short.
And I know that one's not in this time. Won't make that mistake again. Cody looked around to check the
timeout.
The time clock. Even calls the timeout. I believe this is BC's first timeout of the game. Nova Scotia, each team gets 2 timeouts. So the discussion here is, do you peel? Do you come in? I think I'd peel. You're up 4. I know you don't have hammer, but you could do that as well. Or sorry, Nova Scotia could do that, which would be, I think what he's concerned about is if they ever try to play the split. It's a really hard split for Nova Scotia, though, to get that yellow rock in the house on a later shot.
Calming influence of Vic goes down, and
yeah, and he's the one that has to throw it too. So you want to make sure he's buying it.
Well, and what's he comfortable with, right? You know, so here's our 2 options. What do you feel better throwing? If there are 2 options.
Right.
some situations they're not.
Right.
This is what you have to throw. But in certain situations, you look back at the person throwing the rock and say, what do you feel more comfortable with?
And you go back to the first couple rocks. Fewer rocks in play for BC, the better. There's 2 guards. Well, there's 3 guards right now. BC could opt to play a slash on the red guard into the yellow one, and that would eliminate 1 or 2 of the guards too. But they're going in with this one, getting later in the end now, so might as well.
Nice shot.
Great
touch, and
well.
Good, nice sweeping there too by the front end of
staggered. I don't remember BC missing a shot in this game, at least one of consequence.
Yeah. Mark and Trevor with a great sweeping there, as they have all week. And I had a chance in the booth. Judy Blanchard was in with me one day, and Judy's a former world senior champion on the Heidi Hanlon team, who's from Thistle St. Anne Curling Club, and Judy was always a firm believer having her sweepers involved in every shot.
Exactly.
She goes, they can make them go 4 to 6 feet further,
yeah,
but they can't do a bloody thing, Keith, to slow it up.
Oh wow. bad luck continues there as Mark McNamara wicks on the top one and spills to the back 8 foot. They were really close to getting that by too. And no hesitation here as Tanaka wants to just peel that out. Yeah, you want to keep your sweepers in play and keep them involved in the game too. Keep the mind sharp. Discuss strategy with them and know the dynamics. Different teams have different dynamics and different chemistry, so it depends. Like a lead in a second might not be that involved in strategy, but if they were a previous skip, then you rely on them at times to not just be the sweeper, but also help with the strategy. Cody will just peel that right out.
And just want to let you know, Sarah, if you're now awake, Cody did give a shout out to you at the first of the day, but he thought you might still be in bed at that time. So if you're up now, Cody gave a shout out to the parents and also to you. So hopefully you get the second one if you didn't get the first one.
It's 10 to 7 right now in Richmond, BC.
And over on the Varsity, Alberta, 7-3 over Nova Scotia. Every time Nova Scotia has the hammer, Alberta has kept them to a single digit. 2-2 Ontario, Northwest Territories in women. And they're just finishing at the end there, so we'll wait to see what the score is posted for the men's bronze medal game, Saskatchewan, Ontario.
Stone and Nathanson leaned on that one for Kurt Roach, but that one found the front guard. Spills in to be third shot. And it's interesting to look at what Cody's looking at. He's seen already Kurt make a heroic shot, and the respect for the opposition. He wants to make sure that he doesn't leave him anything.
How far was that angle raised?
It was almost the same spot. So he wants to make sure he doesn't leave, and it was probably even further, but almost in the same spot, so he doesn't want to leave that for him. Now you could just come down and hit the yellow one.
Yeah, on the 12.
At the worst for BC, and Nova Scotia will get a single, which is what you'd want to do, but... Northwest Territories fans are behind us celebrating a nice shot there on the bronze medal game of the women.
I knew yesterday when Manitoba, they had the cowbells and stuff, and so I always knew every time Manitoba made a good shot, the cowbells came out. Wait till that curls a bit more. Just going to let it go. Nice shot.
The guards.
Who needs sweepers?
Right.
I just thought they'd give them a break. They've been working hard today.
Both teams have swept a lot. So the second timeout now is called by Nova Scotia. And they need to get 2. And I think they're just going to spend a minute to decide how they can do that.
This is their last shot here, this end.
It's awfully tough, but I think it's there. Just play the angle double.
Oh, yeah.
Saskatchewan, Ontario, all tied up at 4.
Yeah, they certainly made up some time there in the 7th end on that sheet.
Yeah, and into the 8th end now, and Ontario has the hammer. 4-4. Ontario has hammer in 8th in men's bronze medal. We're down to skip stones in the Ontario Northwest Territories. Northwest Territories is sitting 3.
Wow. women's gold medal game. 3 guards set up there, and Sarah Evans triple peels them out, and that's going to be a great feeling for those ladies right now as they have a wide open house and a 4-point lead coming home. So in our game, it will be just another angle run. This time though, he needs to remove 2 red stones to make it for 2. I spent quite a bit of time looking at the angle. So it's tough to keep the shooter, but it really is all he has. Even to score 1, to score 1 is not enough at this point. He needs to get 2 points and hope for more steals in the 8th.
So he needs those 2 to be gone and stick it, and then he counts 2. Well, here we go.
Already has the shot of the game in his pocket, and can he one-up himself on this? Kurt Roach out of the Sydney Curling Club.
Shot is off.
Stone sweeping to make it whole.
Oh, just misses it.
Contact
Good try.
with the 1 and a single steal and an 8-3 win for British Columbia, our gold medalists at the 2018 Travelers Curling Club Championship. The team out of the Richmond Curling Club in Richmond, BC goes back-to-back for the province, following Bart Sawyer's win last year in Kingston, and their silver medal is earned by Nova Scotia, Kurt Roach's rink out of Sydney.
Undefeated.
Undefeated, the 2nd time only that a men's team has done that. And what an accomplishment. 3 shots for me stand out in that game, one of them from Nova Scotia. That one that he made the angle run we just talked about was an incredible shot, but also that draw that Cody Tanaka made 4-3 was incredible. Cody Tanaka's double to force Nova Scotia in the 3rd end was also another key point of the game. The Skips made some great shots, and the score I don't think was indicative of how well it was played there. And BC really didn't miss anything this game.
No, a great week at curling by both of these teams, and kudos to the BC, the calming influence of Vic
Shamuzi,
called a great game.
Calls a great game.
Well, he called a great game all week.
And Cody Tanaka with absolute dynamite shot making. Trevor Backen, Mark Yuragawa with just some great sweeping and rock placement for the lead in second was so critical in that game. What a feeling it must be for them to bring home a championship. They have a long trip home, but it's going to be a good trip with a few gold medals around their neck.
Well, what we're going to do now is we're going to switch our cameras over to the bronze medal game. And as it's all tied up 4-apiece, we're into the last end. And I believe, I just want to see who has hammer here, Darren.
Yeah, we have a final in the women's championship as well, and congratulations. There's tears of joy over there for Alberta. They've worked extremely hard over the last several years. This foursome has been together.
Little tears being shed there, because Muse last time she was here was a silver
medal
in Kelowna.
They improved from that. They were in Halifax as well. They've played together for several years. They made it their goal. They achieved it. They faced a lot of adversity this week. They lost a close game to Northwest Territories. Morgan actually had a small injury right after one of their games. I think I can tell the story now. I didn't originally, but she got her finger jammed in the door of one of the shuttles and wasn't sure if she was able to play one of the games. And they iced it. They weren't sure if it was maybe more injured than they thought, but she was able to play. Of course, she's not sweeping as much, but really great to see the ladies from the Calgary Curling Club. You're adding another Curling Canada banner to an already very full rafters there.
And Ontario has the hammer in this 8th end, 4-4, taking on the Saskatchewan team, this former champions of this
Yeah.
event in 2014.
Yeah, Corey Kohutch out of the Nutana is looking to complete a personal podium for himself. He's won a gold, a silver, and this would be a bronze if he can steal the win. But Matt Dupuis and his Cornwall rink are in a pretty good spot here.
Yeah. Ontario finished the round robin at 4-2, and Saskatchewan, their only loss, blemish, was against British Columbia. They were 5-1 in round robin play.
Matt was a Canadian police curling champion himself. It's not a Curling Canada sanctioned event, but it's a national championship that brings together some of our first responders across the country. So he's been at a national before.
It's
David
coming through.
Krejci's second shot of the end, and Saskatchewan's now sitting 2. Krejci's was an addition to the team after Halifax. And, is actually originally from Manitoba and played in several Manitoba provincial championships there. It's interesting, there have been some players that are representing different provinces from where they're from, but at this level it's not because they move for curling. At the elite level they do, but at this level it's for jobs and families and other things, school. So no one's moving across the country for Travelers Championship, which is good to see.
Haven't reached that level.
No. And the spirit of this event, it never will.
And in the ladies' bronze, it's 4-2 Northwest Territories over Ontario. And I believe we're in the last end there too. And Ontario has hammer.
Yeah, no pressure on the Yellowknife Curling Club there, but I was interviewing Sarah Strader earlier in the week, and I said, what would it mean if you brought home a championship for the club? And she said, well, if we brought home anything for the club and a medal, I think they'd give us a pretty good party. So it's on them to do that. Because right now they've got a 2-point lead in the 8th end. She's holding up her end of the deal.
Yeah.
And the men here call a timeout, Saskatchewan rink.
Well, we had 2 Nova Scotia teams in the gold medal games, and we have 2 Ontario teams in the bronze medal game. So now, do you have any responsibilities, Darren?
A few.
Going into medal presentations
and
and whatnot? Yeah. You're going to be multitasking again?
I will be, yeah.
This is really beneficial for Darren to be able to come up into the booth. It's the only time he has a chance to actually sit still for a couple hours, because he has gone nonstop since Saturday. When did you arrive in town?
Yeah, we got here Saturday. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and it's just been nonstop. But kudos again has to go to Sean Ingersoll and his staff and all the many volunteers here at the Miramichi Curling Club to make this such a wonderful event for the curlers and the fans alike. We've had great response from the community, full house downstairs, and they spill over to upstairs here to catch some of the action. So I think they can be very proud on the event that they put forward. And I know, talking with Sean, he said it's going too fast because there was so much work, as you can appreciate, putting an event like this together. So here we are back at play now. They're putting up another center guard. Saskatchewan trying to fill that hole. It did curl a little bit. There is an opening there. The Ontario squad looking at. They do have hammer.
Charles worked. It's interesting. Both these teams have the same route. If you will line up, both leads hold the broom for their skips. So we have Wes Lang from Saskatchewan holds the broom for his skip rocks, and Charles Wirt from Ontario does the same for Matt Dupuis.
These are the things you practice for, aren't you, Darren? Here
Right,
we are
yeah.
in the championship, bronze medal, down to skip stones.
Your work calling them off. This needs to move over quite a bit to catch any of that shot rock.
It's through.
And he's going to
And
miss the
it's
front
not-
one and clip the back one on the way, but he needed to catch the
Yeah.
front one is more important. Tie game, you just need the one, and that one right now is Saskatchewan's.
Now here is what they want to do with their last shot, and what is it going to leave Ontario. So decision has been made. Not a lot of discussion.
No.
If Ontario needs any input on an angle raise, they could talk to.
Phone a friend from Nova Scotia,
Yeah.
Kurt Roach.
Here we are, the last shot here for Saskatchewan, 8th end.
Corey Kohutch.
Their sitting shot. They want to protect it.
David Krejci saying it's heavy. Can they go by is what he's asking now, but it's, oh, that really took off on them. I think it hit the slide path. It really slowed down and went sideways. That'll do the trick, but they were calling all the way through that it was
that's
heavy.
Right. Yes.
And then David Krejci pointed, should we just go by it? And it stop 8. So, and that came across the hog line. It really dug into the slide path. So you need at least full 4 on this one for Matt Dupuis.
And you might say normally that's not a difficult shot,
Right,
but
but
when you have a bronze medal,
And a rock in the way on the
Yeah.
top 12 fight as
Yeah.
well. A lot standing between you here.
last shot, 8th end, 4-4. Needs 4.
John King on the sweep right now. Playing the tap here.
Yep.
He's really close.
Go ahead. Got a hit.
That's it.
He's
What
got
a
it.
Shot by Matt Dupuis
Wow.
with a bronze medal for
Little
Ontario.
tap on. What a lovely touch.
So the Cornwall Curling Club
Woo!
will get the rink will get their bronze medal, and Ontario very happy with
Yeah.
that finish. Matt Dupuis with a clutch
Yeah.
raise on his last one.
Yeah, I mean, Saskatchewan, say you got to make a good shot to beat us.
Yeah,
And
they did.
a lovely little tap just to squeak in there for shot rock, and Ontario, bronze medalists.
Yeah, wow. Women's bronze medal game wrapping up. Northwest Territories with a 4-2 lead over Ontario. They're maybe getting some inspiration from their counterparts next door. But they need to they need to get 2 to force the extra, but 3 to win.
And we're keeping our camera on it too, so you guys don't have to switch over to the other
Sure, yeah.
other thing. So we'll just we're going to continue with this too.
We can
as
compare
we-
our broadcasts
Yes.
between our neighbors
Well, I
on
mean,
sheet 5.
You're golden,
No,
Darren.
you too.
Darren.
But bronze is the color they want.
Yeah.
That's they were really at this end. I was peeking over a little bit. Northwest Territories was set up really well. They had an unfortunate result on a hit attempt that jammed into that red rock you see in the forefoot. That was from a jam on a hit attempt by Jansen from the Territories.
So we're down to shot rocks. Ontario has the red stone, and their sitting shot, and that's all that really matters at this juncture, as territories are sitting. Looks like 2 and 3 for sure, 2, 3, and 4, but it's that 1 and the 4 is the critical thing now, and Ontario
called the timeout.
So it's 4-2 is their score. So the decision has been rendered. Miller is going back, or Hogan, Stacey Hogan, isn't
Stacey
it?
Hogan, yeah. Out of the Oshawa Curling Club, just outside Toronto.
Yeah.
They came through the quarterfinals, defeating Saskatchewan in the women's quarterfinals.
And I have to admit, the Ontario girls were the best ones, filling out a full page of notes.
Great.
I think Amber had a lot to do with Amber Duncan. She was the,
Both the men's and women's teams for Ontario qualified just weeks ago, so a lot of preparation was rushed to get them here. But at the same time, these two teams are quite hot coming into the event, having won their provincial championship.
Little nudge.
See a nice split there. Yeah, great shot. And that's.
And now Northwest Territories wants to call a timeout.
Looks like a really good situation now for Ontario. We're not behind the sheet for obvious reasons. We started on sheet B. And
we just
on
keep
D
working
now.
our way over.
Thankfully, there's no further we can go. But I would say that is guarded pretty nice. You see Alana Jansen and Sarah Strader. Jansen actually is a cousin to 2010 Olympic gold medalist Ben Hebert. And she's wearing his shoes that he gave her 3 years ago. Yeah, Ben wanted me to tell everyone that.
That's a nugget.
That's how she. Yeah, that's how she's the Hebert family, and is very involved in curling. A lot of cousins that the Kidbees are cousins of them as well. So, Sarah Strader has a tough shot here to limit Ontario, but if she can lock onto that shot rock, that would probably do the trick. But
well, I mean, right now Ontario's sitting 1-2.
yeah, they got the tie.
You know, if this shot doesn't go according to plan, Ontario could draw in for 3 and
win the game.
And win the game.
That's on. Yeah. And interestingly enough, Ontario women have had 2 games where they gave up pretty big leads. Of course, the PEI game was one that comes
up
to mind.
7-1, lose 8-7.
So the tables are turning a little bit here if they're able to pull one out of the fire here.
So this is the last shot for Northwest Territories, looking at 2 Ontario stones, and Ontario has the hammer.
Sarah Strader has been phenomenal this week, leading her team with some huge shots, and I would say in the women's side, if there's a player that has really stood out in terms of individual performance, it's been Sarah all week.
Here, the shot is away.
And no bigger time for it than right now. Not much to the sweep yet. If it finds the curl, it's pretty close. Oh,
it's there.
Foot.
Nice shot by Sarah. Hardly a brush was laid on that shot.
If she could take that rock though and put it just one rock higher, it would make Stacey Hogan's shot much more difficult. But it's still not a gimme.
No, not at this juncture.
This much on the line.
Yeah, with this much on the line, if the shot is made, bronze.
Yeah.
If it stays around.
Now she could make if she's only gets 2 out of it. It'd be tough
bonus
to
coverage.
Do. Yeah.
Well, we're into double bonus coverage now.
It'd be tough to just get the 2, but
Last shot, 8th in, Ontario, down 4-2, sitting 2-3. They can take out the territories.
Awfully close. By the guard, and that will be a 3
On it.
in the win. Wow.
And a 3. What a shot.
Bronze medal, double bronze for Ontario, and the men and the women. And a great shot by Sarah Strader. The Northwest Territories team should hold their head high. They've had a fantastic week this week, making the playoffs with some great shot making. Lots of hugs and probably a few tears too.
Yeah. Amber was pretty excited when it was coming in because she had the best view of it from us. But what a great week of curling. We thank you so much for tuning in, folks. Darren, I know you got to take off to go downstairs. Thank you so much for
Thanks
coming
to
up.
everyone at Bell for a great week. It's been an amazing time here at the Miramichi Curling Club, and the volunteers and you guys have done a great job bringing this coverage coast to coast.
Thank you so much, Darren. And that's. Are we going to stay with the presentation? Okay. Listen, I'm going to be tuning off here. We'll try to keep our cameras on the medal presentations, but thank you so much, and what a wonderful week of curling. Gold medal to British Columbia men, Alberta women, and Ontario in exciting fashion has come through with bronze medals in the men's and women's play here at the 2018 Travelers Curling Club Championship. This is Keith Rain signing off from the Miramichi Curling Club. Have yourself a good day and a better weekend.
Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Ladies and gentlemen, the closing ceremony will be in 5 minutes. Closing ceremonies in 5 minutes. Check 1, 2. Closing ceremonies in 5 minutes. Here we go.